Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another great Super Cool Radio interview. I'm your host, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have an incredible guest joining me at this time. On February 16th, Venrez released a killer new single entitled Sip the Cup through Wake Up Music Rocks. Joining me at this time, he is the frontman of Venrez. Please welcome Ven.
Hello, everybody. Pleasure to be here. Good to see you, Matthew. And hello to all your people that are listening right now.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know we got quite a bit to discuss. Venrez been very busy this year, and it's just awesome to catch up and chat with you.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure to be here. Yeah, I'm looking forward to an exciting year this year.
So I do want to talk about, before we dive into the new music, so earlier this year, Venrez officially signed with Wake Up Music Rocks, and I'm curious, so how did that come about?
Well, we got our first ever record deal back in April 2021 with Pavement Entertainment, which is a Sony label out of Chicago, with some really good acts on the label, such as Dishwalla, Puddle of Mud, Ted Nugent, Candlebox. And Bob Chaparty of Concrete Marketing has been our manager since we started, all the way back in like 2009. And we were, looking for a new record company that was building and looking to bring in artists that could help really take that label to another level and just do a lot more for us. And the amazing Pepper Gomez, who owns that label, they had a band who opted out of the second record, and so I opted out of my option with Pavement. And I signed with Wake Up Music because I love to build things. And they really, she really knows what she's doing. She's got a great team. And we're looking forward to working with them. And they've just been first class. And of course, their PR team is responsible for you and I talking today. So our manager is very close to her. And they were talking, and she mentioned she had a slot open. He had presented us to her, and she really dug us. So, I think the label got lucky to find a new band on the rise. Even though we've been around for a while, we're still a new band on the rise. And we got lucky to get with a label that does things first class, and it can just do more for us, When you're on a label that's a Sony distributed label, that's different than being signed directly to Sony. So if you're with Sony or Universal, and you have a major recording contract, even though you have a large roster, they do a heck of a lot for everybody. Although when you get on an indie label with major distribution, with major names, they tend to leave you, having to do a lot of things on your own. So it was a perfect marriage, and I'm really excited about it.
Well, I'm very happy for you guys, for both sides, for, Wake Up Music Rocks and for you guys, because it sounds like it's working out very well. I've seen, a lot of positive movement, from not only the label, but you guys as well since signing with them.
Yeah.
So, but I do want to talk about now. So, the new single, "Sip the Cup," currently out right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, for anyone who hasn't checked out the single, what can they expect musically and lyrically?
Well, Jason Womack plays guitar for us. He was the bass player for Juliette Lewis and the Licks for years, and I guess currently she's doing some one-off shows. Everybody that was in that band, they all left and started a pretty famous band called Petty Cash. But Jason lived nearby me. We both had studios, although I was in an apartment till I moved here to Vegas from LA. So between the pandemic shutdown of Los Angeles back on March 17th, 2020, and last January, we wrote and recorded over 64 new songs, in demo format. And so, unfortunately, Jason we did a big show in Vegas in April last year. And a few days after the show, when he went back to LA, he was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer, because usually he had produced everything we'd done. And Malcolm Springer actually produced our second radio single, Each and Every Day, which did well. And so we had Malcolm Springer produce the album. And it's just funny, there's some songs that you never think are going to make a record or do anything. I mean, the Rolling Stones thought Satisfaction was a throwaway album cut. It ended up being one of their top 3 singles. So we had done a real heavy record. I think it was our 3rd record, American Illusion. And I wrote a song called Vultures after I saw the movie 300. And I usually take a shot at anti-war and anti-tyranny and government. There's 2 songs on the record that do that. It's an EP, War Machine, which is the last track, is really dealing with what's going on right now with the wars in the Middle East and in Russia and Ukraine. Although Sip the Cup was kind of a combination of how horrifying ancient battles were, and bringing in comparison and contrasting it with modern warfare. So it was a little bit of a different type of song, because I'm really anti-war and death and all of that. So Sip the Cup is a marriage between modern warfare and the horrors of that, and ancient warfare and the horrors of that. And it was funny because I sent Malcolm 19 songs and we pared it down to 8. The label wanted a 6-song EP, so we pared that down to 6. And I had actually the radio promoter, Eric Baker, he works with all the labels, so he's worked with us before. And he picked 2 songs that he thought were the strongest for the first 2 singles. And neither one of them were Sip the Cup, actually. But once we recorded everything, and everything got mixed and mastered, it was obvious that Sip the Cup, warranted being the first single to be released. So that decision was made by the label and the radio promoter. But then, these songs grow when you take them from demo to recorded format. So I was surprised, although it's doing really well. I mean, it's almost at 270,000 views on YouTube, the music video, and it's streaming into the thousands, on streaming platforms. So I'm really thrilled, and I'm curious because Tuesday today is the day the SMR charts come out. So, week 1 we were at 106. Week 2 we went to 63. Last week was week 3, and we made our debut on the SMR chart at 47. So I'm just curious to see how high it goes. On our last EP, Purgatory Awaits, our first single, Show Me, hit number 2, actually, and Each and Every Day hit number 17. So it kind of depends on who you're competing with, because, for those of you that don't know, the SMR chart's called the secondary market chart. There's no more Billboard Top 40 BDS chart anymore. And everybody's judged and looked at on that chart, from Papa Roach to Greta Van Fleet, Pearl Jam, Bush, Metallica, everybody. So, it depends when you release, and you're competing with AAA list bands on major labels with hundreds of thousands of dollars behind them. So I'm curious to see, how far we move up in week 4. But, we've never had anything chart above 20. We've been in the top 20 so far with 2 of them.
It's really awesome to hear. I know I caught some of your live streams. I know you're talking about the charting for it. And you guys made a big jump from week 1 to week 2. And I'm curious for you, like when you released Sip the Cup, did you think it would get the reception that it has received so far?
I was, artists are really funny. Remember, the Rolling Stones thought Satisfaction was a throwaway track. If I knew all those type of things, I would probably be in AR at Universal or something like that. So it's really funny because songs I think should be the singles and don't end up being the single. On past indie records, because we have 4 indie records out prior to Purgatory Awaits with Pavement, and now, Sip the Cup is the title track to the EP. The EP is called Sip the Cup. They'll drop that when we have a tour booked. But, there's just been records we've put out and songs I would never think would be fan favorites become fan favorites. So it's just interesting how that happens.
Oh no, it definitely is. I'm always curious. Like you see like bands like their biggest song is sometimes like something you might not expect it to be when it first released, when you first listen to it. But it just gets that following growing, and it's just so cool. But I really enjoy Sip the Cup. I think it's a awesome song, and I really like the kind of the message that you were talking about earlier in it.
Well, thank you very much. It's the heaviest track on the EP. When you're limited to 6 songs, you got to really use a lot of discretion on the 6 songs you pick and how they flow together. I don't know if you've heard the whole EP, although Sip the Cup is the heaviest one. I was surprised they went with it. Although right now it's doing better streaming, and the music video is doing better than anything we've ever released, actually.
I'm really happy to hear you got that the music video, which turned out awesome. I've had the opportunity to check it out. I was actually going to talk about it here coming up very shortly.
Okay.
It's just so cool. You guys getting a great reception between signing for Wake Up Music Rocks and releasing Sip the Cup. You guys just been, I've seen a lot of positive feedback, at least online, for both of those.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, we've been around for a while. It's a different world today. It's not the 70s or 80s or 90s anymore. And, it takes a lot to brand yourself and turn into a band that can open for an Alice in Chains or be a headline band. And so even though we've been around for 13 years, we're really actually a new band. And the lineup, other than Jason, is fairly new. I brought Victor Singer in on drums. He was 25 at the time. He's 29 now. And Gabe Maska on bass, who I think is one of the top 3 bass guitarists on earth. Actually, Victor Singer at 25 is as good as Dave Grohl. He's insane. Although, sadly, because Jason is still recovering from stage 3 colon cancer, we toured all summer behind our last EP with Buck Cherry. And we brought in Edgar Nieto, who's a childhood friend of our bass player, Gabe Maska, who did a super job. And Jason usually does all of the backing vocals. We've been singing together forever, and our harmonies are sick. Although Gabe Maska, our bass guitarist, is a great singer. And so it was a little different. It was the first time in years that I've been on first time ever I went on stage without Jason. Although Gabe did a great job on backing vocals and Edgard just killed it. So we've decided to go back to being a 5-piece when Jason can, when he's recovered enough to rejoin the band. You know, we were a 5-piece from the beginning in 2009 and turned into a 4-piece in 2015. You know, the music's really written for 2 guitars. Jason had this uncanny ability, you know, playing in stereo through 2 cabs and heads, you know, to make one guitar sound like 3. Although with him and Edgard with 2 guitars, I can't wait to take that show on the road. So I think we're shooting for June, and hopefully he'll be recovered enough to be able to tour. If not, it'll be the same lineup, 4-piece that we did last summer.
Oh, that sounds awesome, especially with the possibility of 2 guitarists, you know, depending on Jason's health. I think that would be incredible to see. So I'm kind of curious for you. Do you have a favorite Venrez song to perform live?
Oh, wow. Yeah. There's quite a few of them. There's not actually one in particular. And that has changed as, you know, each new record is recorded and released. So that would be a really hard question to answer. I think Each and Every Day, as of now, is probably my most favorite song to perform live. You know, I mean, we got the deal. Pandemic was still kind of going on. You know, that was April of 2021, and we had our drummer on because Victor's from France. You know, Jason's in LA. Gabe's a citizen now. He's from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Edgard's from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. France would not let Victor, you know, leave. They wouldn't let any citizens leave, and all the studios were closed. So I called my friend Stephen Perkins, you know, the drummer from Jane's Addiction. And he actually played drums on 4 of the 6 songs. And Each and Every Day, which was the second radio single, he played the drums on that. He went real Slipknot with it. And so that song is just great live, and it really gets the crowd going. So I would say if I had to pick one now, it would be that one. Although there's so much new stuff we're going to be playing on the next tour, I'm sure it'll end up being another song as time goes by.
Oh, right on, right. Well, I look forward. Hopefully, I get a chance to see Venrez live. You know, I've been digging the new music, so I'm looking forward to seeing you guys live. Hopefully, sometime in the near future. But I do want to talk about, and then we're wrapping up this interview. So I did want to talk about the music video for "Sip the Cup." I've watched it. I really like the kind of concept behind the music video. So how did all that come about?
Well, you know, the label wanted a music video for it. And obviously Jason's in no physical condition. Our last music video was the song that hit 2 on the SMR, Show Me. And we'd never really done a performance video. So that was kind of a performance video. But, you know, with Victor in Paris and Jason physically unable to really do anything due to his recovery, and just Gabe, the move was there was a director that Wake Up uses for a lot of things, and he's in LA. So he drove up to my house here in Las Vegas, and he had a white screen and a dark screen. And so we shot a bunch of footage of just me, and then he incorporated that into artificial intelligence. And I've never, you know, we've never done a video like that before, although evidently it came out good. I'm really humble. So, you know, when I saw it, I liked it. It was very different. I had to watch it a lot to really get the feel for it, because it was so different than anything we've ever done before. Although obviously he knocked it out of the park, because as of today, it's got more views than any music video we've ever released.
I had to watch it a few times as well to kind of grasp all the the details he put in and just kind of the story behind everything. But I really liked it, kind of like the news broadcast for some of it as well. I thought it matched the song very well.
Yeah, it did. And, he used some artificial intelligence where, it's really me in places and then it's an artificial character, sometimes with a mustache, sometimes with not, that looks very similar to me. Because I forgot to mention, it's also about reincarnation and, continuing to be reincarnated and going into continuing to be a warrior and put into all these different battles. So, can't use me in your schemes, repeating all these things as different beings, right? So having an artificial intelligence version of me with a little bit different look that isn't really me, kind of adds the compare and contrast of ancient warfare to modern warfare, and being reincarnated and continue to be inserted into these situations.
It was very well done, and I got to watch the music video again to kind of pick up on everything that you were just talking about, because I missed that when I was watching it. But like, it makes sense now that I think about it.
Right.
Yeah, no,
you'll see it. It's like he really nailed it, but there's a lot going on. It's a 3-minute and 40-second song, and so the visuals are just. Maybe that's why it's doing so well, but you can watch it 50 times, and every time you watch it, pick up on something you missed before.
Exactly. And I will, for anyone interested, I will leave a link for the Sip Cup music video in the description of this podcast as well. But now that we're closing out this interview, I do got to ask you already kind of covered a little bit. So, like, what is the rest of 2024 looking like for Venrez?
Well, we're going to have to wait and see. We're pretty much the management, the record company, we're pretty much looking at touring the USA in June and heading back to Europe and the UK in November, December. So we're going to have to wait and see how long they want to push this on radio. And if it pushes long enough, then we'll release the second single when we drop the album before the tour. What could also happen is they'll release the second single and then a third single with the album before we tour. And they've already decided on what those songs would be. I believe the second radio single will be Cross the Line. And the third one would be Who You Foolin'. So we're just going to have to wait and see how long they push this. We're already getting close to April. So I think it would probably be looking more like the second single is going to go out when they drop the album before the tour, because they're like, they can be 12-week to God knows how long radio promotions. There becomes the radio promoters know, and it depends on how the song's doing and being added. So there's times where you can continue to push it for months, and there's times where, after 8 to 12 weeks, the radio promoter feels it can't go any higher or do any better than it's done. So we'll have to wait and see what God planned for that.
All right, on. Well, I look forward to seeing how the rest of this year goes for you guys. As I said, you have a great start to 2024, and I definitely look forward to checking out more new music from you guys, and hopefully catching you guys live at some point. Yeah,
I hope we head through Indiana. I think that might be one of the few states we haven't toured.
Really?
I don't think we've played there. We've played probably every state all around you.
Probably.
There's we did knock out North Dakota and South Dakota last summer with Buck Cherry, and I think Wisconsin and Indiana are probably the only states in the Midwest we haven't played.
Okay. Well,
we did play. Oh, Indianapolis is in Indiana, right?
Yep, that's the capital.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so memory loss. Our first two tours were to Europe, but our first USA tour was with Fuel way back in 2012 in January and February. And we actually played the Super Bowl Village show in Indianapolis, so I stand corrected.
Okay. Well, hopefully you guys get to tour back again through the state because I definitely look forward to catching up with you guys.
Absolutely. If you want to find us, go to Venrez, Venrez, theband.com. I also have a streaming show on kick.com/Venrez on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But you want to go to our website, Venrez, Venrez, theband.com, join the email list, and that way you'll know everything that's going on, and not miss a thing as far as giveaways and shows that we do and tours that we do. And you can check us out on all social media platforms, Instagram /Venrez, Venrez, and check out our show on kick.com/Venrez, which is usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, although there's no show today, though. There'll be a show on Wednesday and at 4 p.m. Pacific, and there'll be a show on Friday at noon. And thank you so much for having me, Matthew.
Of course. I will leave some links for Venrez in the description of this podcast. As I said, please check out and support them. Ven, thank you so much for stopping by Super Cool Radio. I had a fantastic time chatting with you.
Me too. Have a good one. Stay safe. Keep on rocking.
That's right. For Ven of Venrez, I'm your host as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.